Welcome everybody to yet another episode of Vee Mindful's Real Relationships. Y'all, today we're going to talk to the mature crowd. The mature crowd being people like me, over 40, approaching 50. So today, y'all, we got Marshaun. She is a shift relationship strategist. So y'all, today we are literally going to deep dive into what it means to date in your 40s, 50s, 60s, or even 70s. So welcome to the show, Marshaun. Please introduce yourself.
Hello, thank you so much for having me, V. I'm super excited to be here. Okay, so as V said, I am Marshaun Olaniyan. I am a shift relationship strategist. I am the co-founder of Marshaun Olaniyan Consulting, where I work with and serve Black women over 40 to help them to really own who they are, own their worth, and all of this work that we do together helps them to build their self-esteem, their self-confidence, as well as speaking softer to themselves. The most important relationship that we work on is the relationship that you have with yourself.
What do you think the biggest challenge is for Black women over 40 who are single and who are interested in getting into the dating market? What is the biggest challenge for them?
I think that the biggest challenge for Black women over 40 trying to get back into the dating market is really not focusing or putting the next man into the same box because of all the hurt and pain that she has experienced. Which leads me to the second portion of that, or I should say 1B, is getting into some type of coaching therapy to unravel a lot of that stuff. So 1A, you don't have to put those people in the same box. So those men or whomever it is that you're dating in the same box that you did before because of all of your past experiences with that person.
Are you divorced or are you married, single?
I am divorced. I am divorced because the very thing that I teach slash preach, I got into a marriage where we were unequally yoked. So I'm also a believer, so I'll be using some Christian references. But we were unequally yoked, but a lot of it had to do with the fact that I didn't know who I was, right? The
Mhm.
same thing that I teach and preach. I didn't know who I was. I had low self-esteem. I was just kind of grabbing at any man that would show me some attention because I grew up in the era where dark skin was not the thing. And so because I thought that I needed to just grab a hold and put out, as they say, back in the day, they used to say put out. I used to think that giving my body was the way to attract and keep a
Mhm.
man, and not realizing that it had so many more layers to that. And I just needed to be more selective. So, in that, I am being more selective so I don't have to repeat the same behaviors. And I know somebody is out, well, how's she trying to teach me and she's not? I understand, but there are so many more experiences. And if I can help you not go down the road that I went down, then I've fulfilled my God given purpose because I didn't receive any of this stuff. Like
Mhm.
people in my generation and even older, right? We had to go out here and knock our heads. And so if you're coming behind me, maybe you don't have to knock your head by just taking the information and doing different, i.e., better than I did. So you don't have to be a part of the
Mhm.
statistics.
Well, we're in the same boat. So, and I look, I agree with you, fully. I'm divorced.
Okay.
I was married for about 12 years, and we got divorced over 10 years ago.
Mhm.
And I help people with either going through a divorce. That was what my first book was about. Right. So yeah, there's other, like you said, there's other aspects of relationships. It's not all about you got to be married 51
Mhm.
years in order to teach people how to attract love and how to keep it. No, you can literally learn from our mistakes.
Exactly,
and
yeah.
and I've made a lot of mistakes myself in my marriage.
Mhm.
And then, I struggled. I know you probably don't notice, but I struggled when I got divorced, and I
Mhm.
went on a few hundred dates with a couple of hundred men. I met a lot of men, and I told this lady that, right, and when I had a speaking engagement a couple of weeks ago at the
Mhm.
National Women's Police Conference, and I told she was a speaker too, girl, and I told her, a little bit about that. She thought I slept with all two. I was like, girl, how, girl, my coochie would be tired. I didn't sleep with them men like that. Are you tripping? I said, and then she went in to tell me her story where she had become very, promiscuous
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
her life. And I guess she assumed that about me and then I realized that Other people assume that about me as well. Like, girl, no. If anything, I had the I remember at the end of dates, I was shaking hands. Imagine me shaking a damn hand at the I, I just feared intimacy. If you ever you heard about
Okay.
avoidant attachment style, I was like,
Mhm.
"Ooh, don't touch me." I remember getting mad at somebody because he tried to hold my hand on the date. I just remember all of that. So yes, you can legit learn from people who've been down this road. You ain't got to be married at 25 years to teach people about how to have connection. My parents have been married almost 52 years. So I am blessed to have having seen
Okay.
and continue to see a healthy marriage by the grace of God. Thank you, God. But hey, the wheels fell where they may fall. Hey, it happens.
Right. Yep.
So,
It happens.
well, then let's talk about our dating experiences, okay? Because we out here trying to or have gone on dates. For the last few years I was dating. So I understand. So what is your dating experiences like out here? Or are you trying to even date again?
Um, Currently, okay, here's how I like to say it because my mom be asking me the same thing. I'm not opposed to it, but I'm not necessarily actively seeking it. The
Okay.
big picture and my main focus right now is my young daughter. I have a, oh, she's going to be 8 Friday. So I have an 8-year-old
Okay.
that takes up a lot of my time
Mhm.
right now. And most people, when you're not in the same stage in life, right? They don't
Mhm.
understand that a lot of the priority goes to the young one, and I'm not willing to lose her to get this.
I
So
understand.
that's where I'm at, and I know that some people aren't going to understand it, and that's okay. I'm okay with that. Including but not limited to some men that approach me, they don't understand it, and I understand that your child or children are in a different stage. Mine,
Mhm.
she's
Mhm.
here, and again, I'm not willing to lose her to gain
Mhm.
you.
Before this last relationship, and I was actively going on those dates,
Mhm.
and I did date a couple, on a regular basis, I should
Okay.
say. And one guy, I thought we had great chemistry, right? We had great chemistry, great sexual chemistry. Ooh,
Mhm.
ooh, my kids listen. We had great Bible study chemistry, and we would hold hands and walk through the park. But he had young kids.
Mhm.
My kids are
Mm.
grown,
Mhm.
and I didn't
Mhm.
need a babysitter. I could go
Mhm.
out of town, or I
Mhm.
could. And yes, we just did not align. What that taught me though was your exact point was, you know what? If you have young kids and I don't have any, girl,
Mhm.
right here, it's just a dog. Okay. If you could see this fool walking around, I just got a dog, so what I'm gonna do with somebody who got a 5-year-old kid? Girl, his
Yeah.
kid is the same age as my grandson. And I was like, this ain't gonna work for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I dig it. But when we talk about women, black women, because like I do this, I've done this presentation. There are more challenges for black women when it comes to dating, because I did this whole presentation in love and money. Also, my other presentation where I talk about ladies leave your dick at home, the masculine energy, and the numbers don't don't support, okay, every black woman to get a black man
Yes,
who
indeed.
is because we're educated. Black women on the rise when it comes to education. We're leading. We're doing the darn thing. Our black men, unfortunately, and I'm gonna say this as a mother to 3 black sons and
Okay.
2 black grandsons and an auntie to 2 black young men. Our black men are not growing at the same level,
Mhm.
and the same speed that we are. So we have more challenges when it comes to dating. Knowing all of this,
Mhm.
how can you coach her to, I guess, one, be optimistic in attracting,
Mhm.
right, someone that she, let's say, like you say, equally yoked, right? Attracting somebody like that, right? How can you coach her to be optimistic when we know the numbers don't support it? And if
Mhm.
so, does it include it all, maybe dating outside your race?
Okay, so honestly, that's where I was going. Her being open to not only 100% saying, I'm only going to date black men, but also understanding that there are black men that meet the criteria, but you also have to put yourself out there, go to the spaces that they're in. Because what I hear from some of the athletes, I don't know a lot, but the few athletes that I do know, one of the reasons why they say that they end up marrying outside is because that's what they always see. So when they're in those social circles, I'm not saying it's right, I'm not saying it's wrong. What I am saying is this is what they tell me. They may see a few sprinkles of black women there, but the majority, event after event after event, don't look like us. So we have to
Mhm.
figure out how to put ourselves in those
Those spaces.
spaces. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, did you see the thing that came out? Was it posted today? And okay, girl, don't get me lying. What is his name? Deion Sanders. I don't know if it was posted today. It was on Twitter. My one of my male friends has sent it to me today. Deion Sanders' son, I guess he the some white cheerleader girl. What's her name? Becky, or did I make that up? The in Miss Alabama or something, girl, she popped him in his DMs. You know, Deion Sanders' quarterbacking son, the
Okay.
popular one. She popped in his DMs, knowing he got a girlfriend, and he was like, "No, I'm a pass." You know, he with a beautiful queen. I couldn't tell her nationality, but
Okay.
she was of color.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
of some
Hmm.
color.
Hmm.
But I was like, you know, but you're right. That's how they get in these spaces.
They have more confidence that why would he not like me? I
I know.
think that's one of the things that, like, that's me. Me meaning
Hmm.
when I was dating, I don't care if I saw what I liked, I would approach. I wouldn't wait. I think that's another thing that harms us in
Hmm.
comparison to what you call her, Becky. In
I
comparison
think
to
that's her
Becky.
name. I'm not trying to be funny. I swear to goodness, Marshaun. That was her
But
name.
no, I actually do hear this more often than not, that they have a tendency to approach a lot more often, which
Mhm.
significantly increases their chances of going out on a date when we are the wallflowers, because we
You're
have been
right.
taught that they're supposed to approach us all the time, et cetera, whatever. So there's some rewiring of the mindset and the belief
Mhm.
systems that need to happen as well. However, all of it wraps. I don't think that it's just one thing that's plaguing us and holding us back from marriages, and specifically
Mhm.
with black men, or just in general. There are so many facets to this conversation. However, just as far as going back to your sons and athletes alike, and black men that have a tendency to marry outside, a lot of times we're not in those spaces, and then when they do see one or two of us in those spaces, it's not a lot going on up here. That's what I'll say.
Yeah.
They have the look, but then
Mhm.
it's not a lot. And unfortunately, let's put this out there too. Becky could have the same, could be similarly shaped. That's what I'll say. Thin, whatever.
Mhm.
She ain't got nothing up here. She'll still be chosen over black girl that don't have nothing up here.
Mm.
And that's the mindset for them as well. So I think that there needs to be some rewiring on both ends, the
Mm.
brothers and the sisters.
In the presentation I give, I'll tell you that one statistic said that the more educated a black man becomes, he is 3 times more likely to marry somebody who does not look like us. And, you know, but I really fully believe, like you said, it's the circles that they're in,
Mhm.
right? I fully believe that. I do not believe that one is better than the other. Absolutely not. I
Nope.
fully believe it's just the circles that they're in. And white, black, Puerto Rican, Asian, Mexican, I don't care. Go for what you want,
Right,
right?
right, right,
It's,
right.
you know, we, like you said, we have to put our face in these spaces. You know, we can't get mad at these ladies doing that. If they doing that, then hell, go for it. I have been out on dates. I agree with you fully. And people may not like this, but I fully support black women dating outside your race. Like, if you were looking for the man who has the doctor's degree because you are pulling in $400,000 or $500,000 a year, you know, the numbers don't support it. You're gonna have to
Mhm.
expand it, expand your search, right? I've been out on dates with Asian men, white men, you know, Cuban, Puerto Rican, Italian. Like, I don't discriminate.
Mhm.
You come at me and you ask me out in a polite way,
Yeah.
and there's a connection like, oh, you know what? I will go out with you, right? I'm not saying work at McDonald's, girl, and be like, there are a set of standards. Come on now. I got a set of standards. Like, don't be anybody off the street now.
Right, right. Understood, understood. For
You
those of
know,
y'all who are listening, don't just be anybody.
date to your standards. Like, I'm not saying your preferences. Oh, he can't be 6'9", bald headed, bearded. And I'd be
Yeah.
like, girl,
Yes. Oh,
what are
right.
the odds of that?
And thank you.
Let it go. Your man might be the shape of a leprechaun. Like, you don't know if this
Ooh,
man loves you.
you ain't have to
I'm
do
just
it like
saying,
that though.
yo, I hope, girl, I hope my man like that.
Right, you
But
gonna mess around and that's who you gonna attract, the leopard.
I'm like, girl, he came to my mid thigh.
Can I add something though, V? Um, there's also, so the mindset piece is really important here too, because I really feel that even if you're making that amount of money and you do decide to marry someone that is, at least financially, I'm not nowhere other where no other place but financially, and he's not financially the same as you, then this is where the mindset comes in and your maturity level as
Mhm.
well, and how you're able to still see him as what everybody is saying, the king, right? The king of your household, and still
Mhm.
allowing him to be the
Okay.
man, and you're not emasculating him based off of how you can show up. So there's still a way for you to do it if you don't want to put yourself in them situations or go out to those high profile places. It's okay. But if you can't handle it, and let's be real, if you know he can't handle it because he's
Mhm.
made some remarks, and I'm saying that for me because that happened and I was dating, and and he was making remarks because I was the breadwinner, but I wasn't paying attention because I'm like, sir, this is what I
Mhm.
got. So long story short, you both have to have that mindset that it's ours. Obviously, I'm talking about once married, not just dating, but it's ours, and y'all building for the family and generational, et cetera, et cetera. So it's for everybody and not just one. So if you both are mature enough to say, who cares how much you are making, I'm making, we're putting it all together, et cetera. It's for us, and
Mhm.
we're gonna make this work. Forget what my family members are saying, forget what my friends are saying. It's about us. If you guys are mature enough to do that, then it can still work with somebody that's not financially on the same um, wavelength as you.
I coached the client. She was a breadwinner.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
And he would make, like you said, he would make snide
Hmm.
comments about that. What is your house? No, this is our house. And they were married, right?
Hmm.
But how can you even get to that point? You can't even get to the marriage part without accepting some fundamentals. Like, how can a woman make that man feel like king if and like you said, financially, let's
Hmm.
just talk about, because men,
Right.
I
Let's do
do
financial.
find have an issue with women making a lot of money,
It's
right?
true. Yeah.
So let's say financially she's pulling in 500,000 a year, and let's say financially, girl, he drives a city bus, and ain't nothing wrong with driving a city bus, but I'm just making a point here. He making
Okay.
$50,000 a year.
Yep.
Okay, let's just say 50,000. And with
Hmm.
overtime, we can even give him 80,000.
Okay.
Right.
Perfect.
Okay. So how how can she, one, be open-minded to even date? Because he's not, I hate to use the word, but not really on her level
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
financially,
Yeah.
right? So how can someone even become open-minded to do that?
So it's a few things. Number one, that's not the first conversation that you have with somebody.
Mhm.
So I think that a lot of it has to do with the approaches you mentioned before. And then there is the conversations that the two of you are having, and making sure that you are having the deeper conversations. So, like when you're out in a setting, that's not the first thing, at least that's not what I'm doing. It's not the first conversation that you're having as far as, well, how much money are you bringing in? I think that happens over time, or maybe you do happen to see where he lives or what he drives and he does the exact same thing. Um,
Mhm. Girl, no, no. Let's say that your title, Marshawn, the girl, you are CIO of a large corporation,
Mhm,
and
mhm.
that's going to come out on the first date, right? Like, because people do the interview questions. I hate that mess. So, what do you do? What do you like to do for fun? Favorite color? What do you,
Yeah,
spare?
I'm with you. I totally hate. So okay, all right, fine, 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 V, fine. I think that it needs to be deeper than that, but you're right. Most people don't have the skill set to go beyond and ask deeper questions and really get to know a person. Okay, fine.
I know because we're shallow, we're selfish. Humans are naturally selfish beings.
Mhm.
So yeah, and we make and I did a podcast episode recently. Like we make a lot of judgments without knowing the answers, without knowing the whole story, right?
It's true.
And there's a lot of judgments in you on the first date, and even the first girl swiping left and right on the dating apps, right? It's all judgment, and you're making judgments in a snap of a finger. I'm gonna tell you a story. I went on a date once.
Bring it on home, right?
Yes, and I've been on them. Like I said, girl, I got a million date stories. But one time, I don't think I've shared this. I don't think I've shared this date publicly, but I've shared it with my friends.
Okay.
I I met this guy online dating years ago. Okay, after my divorce, so I guess within the last ten years. I did not see a full body pic. Ooh, girl, what the hell was I thinking? Okay, so he shows up for this date. I knew he was tall, but he was
Mhm.
equally as wide. And he was about 6'9". And maybe I did share this story, but he was over 400 something. He had to be over 400 something pounds, girl. So, and when we were eating, you know, um, I never seen the bottom of a soup bowl. Like I was like, "How the hell did he get that soup bowl so clean? Like, did he lick it?" Like, I just was like, "What happened?" And then he said he was ordering a salad, and I was like, "Okay, he's eating salads. Okay, he's doing that." Then the dessert comes, and it was a big, hefty dessert. I thought we were going to share, but when the waitress came, he said, "No, two." And I was like, "Two? Shit, we not splitting this dessert." He ate the whole thing, and it was big, and it was big bread pudding. But I had had conversations with him so that I wouldn't try to make so many judgments, right?
Okay.
I'm
Okay.
like, "What do you like to do for fun?" He says, like, on a weekend, he'll order pizza and we can watch movies. And I just said that I'm a very active woman. I was like, ain't gonna fly with me. Then I'm sitting there eating, girl, eating my salad, chewing on the lettuce. And I just said, you know what? This man can't ride no roller coasters. This man ain't going hiking. This man not going to be able to do any of those things that I like to do. So
Mhm.
that's how I was able to I wasn't doing the judgment. It was more so I was aligning my
Yeah.
lifestyle with
Yeah.
his lifestyle to
Yeah.
see if we could keep up. So I think that people need to do that instead of, oh, he showed up to the day, girl. I was like, oh my gosh, I bet you he got a real strong bed. Instead of making those those types of judgments, right? I looked at him very,
Mhm.
objectively,
Mhm.
right? And I
Mhm.
think that's what we have to do. I think we're just so guilty of not doing that.
It's absolutely true, but I think what you did actually was beneficial for the both of you because no reason going down that road. You already like he talking about pizza, and basically Netflix and chill. And
Yes.
we know what all that pizza, Netflix, and chill is doing to him at least.
Mm-hmm.
And you're very active. That's already unequally yoked, as we talked about earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you did both of you a service for both of you without going down that road. And you're right. I think that we need to be more open and honest with ourselves. You were able to physically see him plus have conversations, right?
Mm-hmm.
And most people, well, no, I'm actually going to recant that or retract that because a lot of people are online dating. And I've actually been catfished with an online dating experience as well. And I'll just wrap it up really, really quickly to say that it's not funny, but it is. Right. This is because this is when you realize that people don't love themselves. It doesn't matter because somebody who's for you is for you, right? So I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying that because he would always have on a hat, and then in all of his pictures, it was like like a profile. And I'm like, okay. I mean, he was cute. So I was like, okay, well, let me just see what this brother talking about, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we get there in person, and the other side of his face is completely disfigured. Now I see why I only got the good side. But at the same time, dude, if you don't like you, how do you expect me to like you?
Yeah.
If you
Mm.
don't love you, then how do you like? And so I didn't go down that road because you were not honest. And so I can see where people are really
Mhm.
um upset when they get catfish because again, to me it's bigger than just that one moment. If you feel that you
Mhm.
need to hide and cover up and become somebody else before you meet me,
Mhm.
what you doing? You don't think I'm ever gonna see you? Like, then that's just like
Yeah,
that, brother.
I
Like,
don't I swear to you, I don't know why people do that. Like, why are you like, I will say one of my clients, what he has told me, and I actually like what he said.
mhm.
He said, women want honesty. They'll put that on their profile, but yet he said, why do so many women wear filters? He said, they even have body filters. He
What?
said that, but yet they want an honest man, but you're not even being honest yourself. Y'all stop showing up, stop putting these damn filters because that filter ain't coming with you
No, it's
on the
not.
date. You are setting yourself up for rejection. You're setting
Yes.
yourself up to be hurt, or even somebody not even they see you coming around the corner, they be like, "Oh hell no! Stop using pictures from 1995. You don't look
Right.
like that anymore. Okay, let
Right.
it go."
Please,
You
please.
Yeah, it's like if you're truly interested in attracting a relationship, you're right. Represent your full self, and it was my bad not asking for a full body pic. I I that was a lesson learned, and that was
Yes.
very early
Yeah.
in my dating, girl. I don't do that mess no more.
But honestly, but that's how we really understand what's going on and try to figure out the next time around because that was the exact same thing. If you only have profile pictures and a hat, no, I want to see you without your hat
Yep.
because hats can make you look real sexy, and then when you
Yes,
take
they
it off,
can,
it's
girl.
it's it's different. It's
Mm.
different.
They call it hatfish, girl.
Get
They
the
call
hat
it the
fit right,
hatfish.
exactly. So just
Mhm.
and here's the thing: if you don't like yourself in this moment, you have control over that. You can change it. You can do something about it. Maybe not the disfigurement of the guy that I'm talking about, but
Mhm.
if it's weight, okay, you can do something about your weight. Let's be
Mhm.
real. If it's your finances, you can do something about your finances. If it's your car, you don't like we can keep going down the list of all of the things
Yep. There
that
are a lot of things
you
you could
have
change.
control over. And so you can't be mad if somebody is not attracted to you in that way because you lied.
I know confidence is everything. How you feel about yourself is going to show up on the date,
Right.
period. It's
Yes.
going to be reflected back to you. So it's important, like you said earlier, before you even start going out here to date, really pay attention and invest into yourself, but pay
Mhm.
attention to how you feel about yourself because I promise you, you are a mirror. They're going to only reflect to you how you feel about yourself.
Exactly why I start there. Because
Mhm.
I honestly, V, I started helping people with their relationships before, and,
Mhm.
and specifically black women. But years ago, I actually used to coach men, but my sweet spot is my sisters. Anyway, the point is we would talk about the relationship, and then I would find myself having to backtrack to her. Okay, so did you set them boundaries? Did y'all have the tough conversations? Did you? And I was just like, okay, so I gotta backtrack and actually start with her because I thought you already did your work. So that was my bad for assuming. And so now
Mhm.
we have to do your work. When we come
Yep.
together, we got to do your work before we can
Mhm.
even think about the relational work.
I'm a big believer into manifesting. And Christianity and people don't like to hear it, but I'm like, it is a lot of the principles, whether you be spiritual or
Mhm.
practice Christianity, principles are the same, like how to have faith. Like, you gotta, in order to see it in the 3D or see it in your reality, they say pray about it and leave it alone. But it's the same thing with manifesting. You manifest, you visualize it and leave it alone. You have to have faith. You have to believe
Yeah.
that it's coming. And you're only going to attract what you are, not what you want. And so that's a key principle in manifesting, right? So if you want more peace in your life, you have to be the peace. If you want more love in your life, you have to bring the love and you have to love yourself. So I'm big into that. I know there's a lot of women out here that are trying to attract the love. they're over the dating apps. But even though I know you're not going to be able to escape using a dating app,
Okay.
I'm sorry, people, you're not, because that's how people are meeting people. But let's say they're trying to meet these people in person. What
Okay.
advice would you give somebody who maybe they were married 22 years, girl, and they have to start all over in dating?
Okay.
What advice would you give somebody if they really don't want to use the dating apps? How would they be able to meet people?
Then they really have to experience or put themselves in new places to experience new things. Exposure, literally exposure,
Mhm.
and really thinking about, I like to tell my client, go by yourself.
Me too, girl.
Go by yourself. But so many people are so scared to do this. And ladies, I love y'all. My black sister, I love y'all. But y'all be scary. Y'all scared to take yourself out of the date. You're scared because you think everybody looking at you, and nobody's really paying you
Don't
attention.
nobody give a damn about y'all.
No, no, not like you think they do. They might look over and be
No.
like, "Oh, she by herself eating their stuff." Like, "Oh, she by herself," but moving on with their life. Um, so exposure, new experiences, putting yourself out there, and let's be real, the people that you have in your life, you don't know who they know. And I'm saying
True.
that because have you even told the people in your life that you are open and ready
Mhm.
to date?
Mhm.
Do your circle even know? And if your
Yep.
circle knows, right? Okay, I'm open, but then give them some criteria so they not just sending you anytime they can hear you. That's not what we're doing.
Mhm.
But
That's
give them
right.
some criteria so they understand what's going on. So those are my two top things that absolutely is going to make a difference: exposure to new things, and
Mhm.
telling your, at least at the very least, your trusted circle of friends.
Mhm. Oh, no, but you had 3 things. The going out by yourself.
Oh,
Right.
sorry. Yes, yes, yes.
Mhm.
That
Yeah,
that might have been a bonus for sure. But you
yep,
need to.
I'm a huge proponent in that. Like, I'm yes, go by yourself, travel by yourself as well. Stop waiting to live your life on waiting for other people. Okay, get on out here and live your life
You're
because
gonna be
your life
waiting.
is passing you by.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're gonna just be waiting.
Waiting
And
and waiting, and yes, go out here and start doing the things that you love to do because that's an attractive energy. One thing that I did, because I still I have a coach and I've been working with her for over 5 years and I love her. She and I did years ago. Okay, what are some of the new things that you want to try? Right? Like you said, new experiences,
Mhm,
right? Get
mhm.
out here, make the list. I have all my clients make the list. I want you to go out here and do new things. Try new things. Stop doing the same old, because you're just going to see the same old.
Same old.
And especially if you're determined to get off the dating app, you're
Yeah.
not going to meet anybody new doing the same thing because we're creatures of habits.
Yes,
You got
yes,
to do something different,
yes,
right? So,
yes. We're not
yeah.
trying to be insane, right?
Mhm.
The
Yeah,
definition, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting
over and
different
over and
results.
over again.
You're not gonna get different results. You got to do something different, baby. You do.
That is very, very true. So then, you know what? I'm gonna just finish because we can probably talk forever. And I'm gonna ask my last question because if we're talking about Black women
Hmm.
now, this might be a loaded question, Marshaun.
Okay.
So I'm gonna
Okay.
just ask
Okay.
it
Uh-oh.
though. Okay.
Okay.
Do you think that Black women have a harder time with balancing their masculine and feminine energy? And if so, why?
Simple answer is yes. Uh, long answer is because of so many challenges that have been thrown our way.
I know.
So a few of
Mhm.
them, of course, we know that uh, we have the slave mentality. We also have society that has ripped a lot of our black men from our households. Then we have those that are not um, fighting for slash wanting to be with black women. Uh, and then we have the gay population as well. So each time it gets smaller and smaller. So there's many challenges, and then I personally believe me, actually me and my mama, but I'm sure it's other people out there. But we talked about this anyway. That society has put into place and is showing up with what we were talking about earlier. Society is putting in place or has put in place where they keep advancing the black woman and keeping the black man behind.
Mm.
So I think that that's also another piece to the puzzle as well. Us not being open to dating outside or the majority, I should say, because I actually live in San Diego, and I see a lot of interracial on both sides, mainly the black men, but I am seeing a lot more black women dating outside of the race as well. So being open to it. Another thing, and like I said, just keep continuously putting yourself out there, because if you're walking around with all of this junk up here and carrying around all of this heavy weight, you're
Mhm.
not attracting anybody anyway, at least
Mhm.
not the right type of people, because your life is messed up, effed up, whatever,
Mhm.
because no nobody like me, ain't nobody gonna date me. You right. You know what? You right. You
Mhm.
believe that? You right. So
Mhm.
you got all of this depressive energy, but you want this high energy, fine, sexy black man to come and do all this. Whatever it is that you asking, be willing to do. And
And
as
be
we
willing to
said,
be.
become exactly who you are trying to attract.
Mhm. That, and yes, and I know I'm gonna tell you, I know that question is because it's a loaded
Yeah,
question.
it is.
I and I agree with you. There are so many factors that create in us more masculinity. Do we want to be masculine? No, we
No,
don't. We no.
absolutely
We
not.
would love a man to come in and take control. Well, I just want you seen that meme on TikTok, making my way downtown, right? And you saw that we want to just be mindless as well. But it's so cyclical. Like you said, removing the black man out of the home in the
Mhm,
1960s with the welfare,
mhm.
no man in the house rule. You can't, if you want this welfare
Yep,
check, you
yep.
can't have your man in this house. And so, and white women had to deal with that as well because they were on welfare as well. Right. And I was even on
They
welfare.
started the system for the white. Did you know that they started the system for white people? When yeah. So don't get into it. Please don't buy into that.
I know. I trust and believe. Hell, girl, I know. Like I said, girl, I got my welfare checks too. When I was in college, I had a baby in college. Okay, I was on
Mm,
welfare
mm,
WIC. I used to count out the
mhm.
colorful little money. I was talking to my daddy about that the other day. Embarrassing. I used to be like, "This is my food stamp section."
Yeah, they don't know nothing about the colorful money. I know about the colorful food stamps. That's why I'm laughing.
Girl, and then I had the next section. This is my WIC items. And these are what I'm paying with my little bitty cash, these paper towels and toilet paper. Okay. I was like, shoot, ain't nobody got to tell me. I had section 8 and I had rice. I had roaches and mice. So
Woo,
trust and believe.
woo.
I understand,
Yes,
thank God for growth. And I was in
yes,
college and I
amen.
struggled then.
Hmm.
But I do firmly believe like it's cyclical, but there's something that we can do about that, and I'm passionate about teaching black women, white women, Asian women, but I know it's a higher number of us that deal with the masculine
Hmm.
energy.
It is.
And if more black men and white men and whomever man can fully understand that we're not trying to be more masculine. And maybe that's why you go to, other races, and that's fine. I'm biracial myself. I'm Chinese and black,
Mhm,
so I dig it. I understand like people date outside their race,
mhm,
but if you would just black men as a whole, because I have raised black men, if you could just understand, like come and be more understanding that we're not trying
mhm.
to do every damn thing. It's just we've been put into roles more often to
Yes,
have to do
yes.
everything.
To have to. Please repeat that. To have to.
To have to, yes. What we would love is a confident man, a man who's emotionally intelligent,
Mm,
right? A man who's a strong leader and a man who's patient and kind. Yes, we do love nice men. Why do men think we don't love nice men? Yes, the hell we do.
yeah, right,
Okay.
right, right.
Yes, the healthy women do love nice men.
Healthy.
Yes,
Amen. Healthy. Yes.
healthy is key. There's definitely ways to help you to lower that masculine energy so that you can attract a masculine man. So,
Yes.
Marshaun, I know you have a couple of books that you want to show, and then we're going to mention them so people on the podcast who's listening, I'm going to
Uh-huh.
put them in the description, in the show notes. So,
The first one is called You Can Get Over Your Ex. For all of the sisters out there that didn't do their healing in between their relationships.
mhm,
This is actually a journal, so it's not a lot of reading material, but it is you thinking, it is you having a truthful conversation with yourself, because nobody's going to read this unless you show it to somebody. But it's really taking a deep dive
mhm,
into why you kept attracting or keep attracting the same type of man over and over again? And how come you can't seem to shed him and his unhealthy behavior? But don't get it twisted. I'm not only talking about him and all the things that he didn't do. As I mentioned, I help you with you. And then the other one is for those of you out there that are listening, but maybe you are in a relationship or marriage. And this is called understanding your spouse.
Mm,
Understanding your spouse deeper, excuse me. It's a relationship journal for couples. It's
mm.
120 days. It's called a pass back and forth book. So
Okay.
there is the same question in there for the both of you to answer, and this is where deeper discussions can come from the both of
Oh,
you.
okay. I
So
like that.
really taking a deeper dive into you, into
Mhm.
both of you, rather, I should say, into both of you. So understanding your spouse deeper is the second one.
You know, that masculine, it prompted me to write the masculine, like the ladies leave your dick at home.
I like
And that is because I talk about that. I took my dick on every date I went on,
that.
girl, and couldn't understand why I wasn't having emotional connection with those 100 plus men or whatever.
Mhm.
Because I was competing on them damn dates. I'm like, I'm competing against the next woman. I'm competing against his successes. And it's
Mhm.
like, what am I doing? When a woman doesn't feel safe in her relationship, when she doesn't feel like this man is he's about to lead us to hell. You know, when we're
Mm.
feeling like that, I
Mm.
promise you, a woman who's used to doing everything will take over.
Abs-
And now the dynamics of the energy they have shifted. Now
Yes.
you
Yes.
are now the leader. You're not going to allow your children and your household to go to hell. So you are going to stand up. And then what happens? He steps back. He's no longer leading.
Mhm.
The energy is off. Eventually, it's going to
Everything off.
yep,
Everything off. Everything off
everything
because
else.
that alignment is no more.
Yep. And
Yeah,
then what happened, girl? Then we don't trust him anymore.
that's
Eh,
true.
Then when you don't trust your man, girl, you might as well just poop,
Why are you here? Why are you here?
What are you? What are you doing here besides eating all the damn bread and breathing in free air? You know, you might as well not be here, girl. That's what happens. And that's why it's so important to bring that feminine energy back because you can't focus on what your partner isn't doing. You
Yeah,
have to focus on you. You have to show up to be a more feminine being, right? So
yeah,
I feel you, girl. I feel you.
yeah.
So, Marshaun, girl, if you could tell people how they could get in contact with you.
Yes, you can get in contact with me by simply sending me an email at it's Marshaun at MarshaunOlaniyan.com.
Okay.
And if you're looking for help, right, then
Mhm.
definitely there. But also, listen, this is some deep work that we're doing, me and V. And we know that this is very important. So, for all of you out there, if you have yet to start working on yourself, so you can become a better version of yourself, so you can actually create the life that you want to be living, then now it's time for you to, because you know intellectually what you need to do, but get you some accountability.
Thank you so much for being on the show today. I truly appreciate it. Great conversation. There's a lot of us women who are 40 and over looking for love. So I do hope that this episode was very helpful to you in your journey. And we do wish you all the best in your journeys. Thank you guys for tuning in for yet another week. And until next week, y'all, take care.